Okay, so we go back to this relationship at home. Actually, relationship basically anywhere, could be even in the office or outside the office. And just to make sure that we really are on the same page, I'm not really into trying to do psychology lessons here for people, but I've recognized from living and from studying and reading that is almost impossible for a person to be at their best performance if the relationships in their life isn't at optimum level. You must have, and I want to encourage everybody to chip in and help me out here, not just listen. You must have experience, and when things go wrong at home, especially, you can't leave the house full of verve for the bounce a new step and great, looking forward to produce your best results, creativity, etc. If you had an upset at home or an argument, haven't you felt you come to the office and you don't feel all that productive, creative? Even your self-esteem might be shot a little bit. You know, how can you be so proud of yourself or happy with yourself if with the closest people to you, you've had an upset or an argument? If that's the case, you don't do your best at the office. And we all have interest that you come at your optimum to the office, come with a bounce in your steps, eager to contribute. That can't happen if the situation at home especially is not optimum. So what we'll do is dive into how things go wrong and how do we get out of that. So a lot of you might be single, so think this may be nothing to do with me, but trust me, one way or another, you're going to have a partner. How the nature of the partnership differs from person to person, but you will have it. And if you don't have any background, any foundation, how to deal with it, you will have to discover everything from zero upward. There is really no need to that. It's a very painful process if you've had no grounding. And it always, even when you're learning, it doesn't always end well. Because learning, you could come out of that wiser, better, with the more strong established relationship. You could actually end up with a breakup or an upset that can't be repaired. And often you only realize that in hindsight, that things went wrong and I didn't have the tools to deal with that. So let's go on that journey together. And hopefully that you take away from this some useful advice. I can tell you after 69 years, soon to be 70, and I've learned my lessons here and there, and I can share a lot of that with you. It's a subject that interests me a lot, so I've read a lot about it, and I hope I can share some, and some of you can also add your wisdom here. I'm pleased to see we are 183 in the room. I thought that we will be maybe like 120, but it seems like we have enough curiosity in our teams to deal with this subject. And I guarantee you there'll be no other organization that will sit and share like this about relationship, psychology, marriage, or friendship. It's not a typical business discussion, but it has a huge impact on business. So let's start by seeing how things really derail. And you will hopefully contribute to this. So there are a few elements that if they become present, you can see you're on the way to self-destruct. You're on the way to the relationship to derail and fall apart. So let's examine that. So what would make a relationship downfall? Anybody would like to start with a contribution rather than me just waffling? What would cause a relationship to downfall? There are a number of elements. You can throw one at me, and please apply the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 fire. Don't start reflecting on what you're going to say. Just say
too much expectations.
Too much expectation. Okay, fair enough. Comparison, yes, that's quite ugly things when you do it. Yes.
I also think lack of communication, Fayez.
Lack of communication.
Lack of understanding.
Yes, lack of understanding. So there are many things that will make a relationship starts to go downhill, but some of them are like really, really harmful. They're essential for things to begin to tumble. So let's take them one at a time. We can comment there. So criticism is a kind of a primary. Once you begin on that road of criticizing each other, whether inwardly in your mind or outwardly verbally. So don't think criticism has to be vocalized. If you think, look at the way he or she sits or talk or whatever, once you start criticizing in your mind or verbally, that's kind of one of the first steps. Contempt, they used to say, if you can listen to a couple or two friends or whatever, and if contempt creeps into the conversation, you know that relationship will not last more than months, if that. Okay, some marriage counselor will say if there is contempt in a 10 minutes discussion, guaranteed this couple will separate. Okay, then unfortunately, criticism and contempt don't stop there, then defense begin. And we've said on a previous conversation, defense is the first act of war. Can you remember that? Maybe not. You would any discussion, if the other party or you begin to defend your position, means the sparring, the fighting has started. Although it sounds like neutral and it's defense, but it isn't. It's the beginning of the war. Then you get to this one. This is really, we're downhill by a long way. It is probably very tough to return from that. Stonewalling. Who can tell us what stonewalling is? The picture hopefully shows something, but some new voices. I'm really glad, a lot of contribution today. So this is, nobody's expert in this area. We're all expert. It is our life. We all lived it. So life teaches all of us the same way. What is stonewalling?
Kind of stubborn, being very stubborn, not responsive.
Okay.
Opinions.
Different opinion? Okay. Go on, don't be shy. And if you want to speak, don't forget that mute button. If you're muted, we miss out on what you're saying.
Okay, so
Go on.
okay, so it's like when you're in an argument, the other person is not responding what you're talking. It's like just listening and just no interest what you are talking or suggesting to the other person. That's what.
Yeah, it's like talking to a wall, stonewalling it. The other party is not responding. They are fed up with arguing, with defending, with criticizing. They shut down. Now you are dealing with a stone wall. That's what this stonewalling is about. And that means it's the end of discussion. It's the end of resolution. That's it. They've shut down. And you really are now tumbled downhill quite far. And then this is where apathy sets in. Failed repair attempts. You try to fix it, and you think maybe you're getting somewhere, it derails again. If that happens 1, 2, 3 times, you go into apathy. You give up. That's it. I can't repair this. I'm had it. I'm going to do what after that? You'll see this, and I think most of you will not realize what you're doing. After that, you get this. Playing with the shock of separation. This is such an insidious thing that we do and don't realize we are doing. If somebody gets an insight, speak up. But if you don't, I'll explain it. Very few people I share this with. get it on a first pass. Have you not said to yourself or to your partner, I've had it, I think I'm getting out of here. I want to leave this relationship. You might not recognize that, but you will either mentally, because you're fed up with how things are, or actually you say it to each other. Anybody familiar with this? I'm not saying anybody's done it because you're not going to admit publicly, but if you're familiar with it, you will know, and you don't realize what you're doing. And I recognized it even in myself. When you're fed up with things, I think I maybe should just walk away from this. You can say it even to yourself, but if you say it to the other, you're starting on something really serious. So what is this shock of separation? It's actually a cry for attention. Remember, we talked about stonewalling, failed repair attempt. And now I think, how am I going to get to this? Because this life is not worth living. I'm fed up with all of this, but I still don't want to totally walk away. So you threaten with separation, thinking this will get attention. But it's like throwing a hand grenade in a room. Yes, you will get attention, but you cause a lot of destruction. And why is that? First of all, when you say it, you cannot intellectually talk about this. If you haven't experienced it, you will not recognize what I'm saying next. First, it's an ego trip. I'll show you how much you need me, or I'll show you how your life will be without me, etc. But it's all actually about me. I am inflating my own ego by playing with separation. Okay? Be careful. You think you're getting attention, but actually you are inflating your own ego at the expense of the other. These are very deep discussion. I don't expect that we will get that deep into it in half an hour, but keep this in mind if it ever occurs to you to walk away, that this is the game that's being played and may result in permanent damage. You often in life start something because it's like a chess match in your mind. You think it'll pan out that way, but actually you have no control of how the other is. So the way they react can control the drift of the whole conversation, and before you know it, you're in deep trouble that you can't get out of. Okay? So it will result in a damage you did not expect. You just wanted attention, and now you're in really hot water. Okay? Let's go next. So let's see how really where it starts. So it starts with allowing a passing thought to become an issue. Who can give me an example? A passing thought, and this is how our mind works. A passing thought becomes an issue. I'm going to give you an example so you know on what track I am. I come home and dinner is not ready. Okay? Passing thought is, if she cared about me, if she respected me, if she appreciated how much I do for this family, there'll be dinner ready. It may not start like just, if she cared about me. Now it's a passing thought. It might be just and suddenly the mind starts to bring in supportive thoughts to that. Yes, that must be true. That must be true. The passing thought suddenly grows legs and starts running. And before you know it, you are deeply thinking about how unappreciated you are. Anybody got examples like that? Don't tell us personal examples, but if you these passing thoughts from being just a casual mind thought until it become actually a reality. I'm not going to let you just sit and watch me. Naveen, you must start all these, you guys, especially the ops people, you are helping me make this all lively and all interactive.
I will share that.
Okay, it's fine.
So say, what are you other? I want an example of a passing thought. I'm not seeking agreement or disagreement. Anybody, an example of passing thought that suddenly becomes entrenched? It's no longer passing. It's become as if it's true.
When he comes home late without any notice or information where he is, and then while waiting, you just keep on thinking the worst ideas in your mind, and then it becomes an issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. How about be the hero of every story? Whether you are sitting to chit-chat, have a dinner, go for a walk, and especially us men, we are worse than women, but generally it can be both ways, where you're the hero of every story, and just because the other is respectful, listening, etc., don't take too much advantage of that. Eventually, it's tiring. So try very hard to make the other person the hero of some stories, otherwise things dry up. Fall into I've got time for everything but you. Especially if you are a very career-oriented person. You seem to think the career, the work, or your hobby, or your sport comes first. So you come home, you get your gym bag ready, and you want to go out. What about the relationship? That takes late. And you will find relationship a bit like space. You know, space is always there, taken for granted, and without it, we don't have a life. And the relationship is like that. You take it for granted, you think the other will be there for you all the time, but if you don't give it the sufficient attention and time, it will fall apart. This is going to get a lot heavier before it gets better, so I hope you can bear with me. Control shows lack of respect. Anybody would like to comment on it? Control, which is controlling the other in the relationship, shows lack of respect. Why is that? Giant, you're always happy to talk. What's happened to you? You're kind of quiet today.
No, sir. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. It's a very easy and a very difficult topic at the same time. And especially coming to this point, control shows lack of respect is, we try to take control as men. You rightly said, we are more worse than anybody. So we try to take control of anything. Even if we go to a restaurant, we try to control the menu and we try to force it on to others. So I can give you a small lively example. So this control starts, it ignites a lot of things. Back to you, sir.
Okay. Let me tell you, I think we men are delusional. It's actually the women are in control. That we think they give us the illusion of control, but actually they control the whole narrative. We just happy with ourselves, give us the chance to, sort of speak up and do this and do that. But they have engineered it in a very clever way. And thank goodness for that sometimes.
It's like when we give an idea, they'll say, who cares? And if we don't give an idea, no one is giving any idea. I have to give everything. This is a kind of control.
That's true. So anyway, if you feel you need to control, you're not giving the other space to be themselves. Next one is not expressing your hurts, make them fester. Some of us think it's stoic, it is being wise, etc. Don't voice your wishes or your hurts. That's not very clever. It may appear like you're being stoic, it may appear like you're being patient, but trust me, it festers. You know what festers mean? I put here rotten apples. And an apple is a delicious thing until it rots, then it starts to smell, get squishy, and hopefully you never bite into it. And that's the same thing. If you're hurt, if your wishes are ignored, speak up. Nothing worse than bottling it up and hoping it will go away. Unfortunately, it never does. Believing the other owes you is untrue. It's life that provides. Who wants to comment on this one? Believing the other owes you is untrue. Life provides. I'm showing here apple tree. You know, we say an apple tree produce apples, and quite happy for anybody to pick up an apple. Doesn't say you deserve it, you don't deserve it. So we say this tree is appling. It just produces apples and anybody can pick an apple. Life is providing. However, we humans, I will start saying, I put food on the table, therefore you owe me. I provide, I do this, I work hard. No, you do. You are a conduit for life. You do what you do because life has put a mission to you to do this way. You excel that way. This is your journey and this is your pleasure, and that's what life has directed you. The outcome, the fruit of that is what everybody benefits, whether it's immediate family, remote, wider family. So nobody owes you anything. No matter what you think you're doing, it is life coming through you, not you. So the moment you drop that idea, you stop thinking you're doing favors to others. You are doing no such thing. You are just being an instrument of life, and everybody benefits, but not because of you, because life creates through you. Demanding love, respect, loyalty is unworkable. They are a consequence. Demanding love, respect, or loyalty is unworkable. They are a consequence. Consequence of what? What about contribution? What is love or respect or loyalty? One of them. What is it a consequence of what? Rajiv, what do you think?
I think it's a consequence of trust.
Okay. What about, I'm looking at the people in front of me. If you're unlucky and you're in front of me, you'll have to speak. I see Satish there.
As it is consequence of what you give.
Okay. How you perform.
Yeah.
What about Sajeev? What do you think, Sajeev?
But I think we cannot demand, we need to command. Like Satish said, it's an outcome of how you respect, how you live, how you love. So it's if you command, respect, love, loyalty, you will get.
Yeah. And you will find when it is natural, when it is voluntary, it's meaningful. If you say, you haven't come to pay your respect, you didn't come to my house, you didn't do that, it is just not workable. You can't force people to love you, respect you, or be loyal to you. These things happen as a result of how you've been, and then people react as they react.
We cannot demand respect. Respect can be earned only.
Absolutely.
Actually, yes, sir, the individuality space is very important, even it is a wife or, son or daughter. So when you give that space, everything automatically happens. When we say like, I like this color, I don't like this color, don't use this color, this is where people start the basic quarrel and, there is no respect comes in. Like today, somebody likes white color, somebody never wears a black color, and your wife likes everything black, just leave it. It is their individuality character. Then, automatically they will feel there's a space for me, and they start, respecting and, giving us that, what we use.
Great. We have a lot of wisdom around the company. So go on, let's encourage more of that. Okay. How the other is totally beyond your control and theirs. Now, Krishnamurti just said something more or less about that, but some more contribution. Let me encourage somebody that doesn't speak on this side from Suad. You're sitting there. You are HR and POPs is within your department. What's going on?
I feel similar like what Satish and Sajeev said, both that what you respect is what you give, you will take from the others, actually. So even sometimes it's a joke or something, but it will be meaningful for the other party.
Right. Okay, let's go a bit deeper. How the other is beyond your control, but even more meaningfully and beyond their own. Let me see who wants to say something here. Amreen, what do you think? Have I caught you unprepared, or you got it right, ready for me? No, can't hear you. No, sorry, Amreen. The mic you're using is different than the mic that you're speaking to. You have to change your mic. Let me ask Sitara.
Everyone has their individual opinions, so we cannot demand to have their opinions under our control.
Okay. So if you might want somebody to be different, maybe behave different, respond differently, etc. And we think if I ask, they will change. But it's not in your control. It's there is nature, culture, nurture. People grow in a certain way, behave in a certain way, and it's not just beyond your control to alter that. It's beyond their own. Even they may try all their life to change the way maybe they walk. They can't. So stop demanding. You have to see people and accept them for how they are, not how you want them to be. It is unworkable. We do that a lot, especially with our children. Yes, you put guardrails to protect them, but wanting them to be, and to be controlled by you and how they are, it's a waste of time of yours. And even if they were to listen to you, they can't do it. It's beyond their control. Okay, well, let's get out of the hole and see if we can talk about repair a little bit. So this is one thing we don't do enough of: sit together in silence. Don't rub it and talk and so on. That distracts. Can you sit in silence with someone else, whether it's a friend, a spouse? That actually begin to create the space for any repair. You need to be able to do that. Not many people can do it. They feel like something has to be said. And it's like, filling a space and cluttering it. Look at every issue that comes up, especially in your own mind. In time, does this really matter? Today, we have a hot disagreement about XYZ. Maybe you put too much chili in the dinner. Keep it that simple. And I bet she doesn't respect me, or he doesn't respect me. Put so much because he likes it, but I don't like it. But if you say, in time, does this really matter? In 10 years' time, are you going to look back and say, that dinner where put too much chili, you ruined my day. I hated you for that, and I still hate you today. Almost everything in time, and time doesn't have to be years. Sometimes it's the following day. So they always look at any topic and say, in time, does this really matter what I'm making a big meal out of? Make peace with change. Make peace with change. Let me see. GB, make peace with change. You've got all the equipment. I bet your voice is going to come loud and clear. Can you hear me, GB? I can hear. Yeah, thank you. So what do you mean? What does that mean in the context of relationship? Make peace with change. What does it mean to you? Yeah, you're a bit too low. I don't know if you can increase the volume on your mic, but if not, we will try hard.
If something has spoiled our relationship earlier, you make a change from today, that will make peace. Is what I understand.
Okay. Not quite. Let me give you a bit more. Make peace with change. Let's say we always maybe have coffee together in the morning. Now you stopped having coffee. You decided coffee is not good for me. There's some couples can get big upset about that. Now we're not doing this together. We had this routine. We used to go out for a walk. You don't want to walk anymore. But if you accept that the other can change, different than you, and you let them be rather than force them to stay the way you are, the way you want them to be, then life will become difficult for both of you. We all change with age, with time, with relationships. And if you make peace with change, you're a bit more relaxed, a bit more open, and in fact, celebrate the change with them. Your partner suddenly becomes a vegetarian. Oh my God, who is going to cook chicken for me? Who is going to do this or that? And if you don't make peace with change, you will have a hard time. Okay? This is not an easy one. I challenge you to do it for a week. Have 3 positive thoughts about him or her or the other. Okay. If I were in the US or something, there's such woke culture now. They call it they. You cannot say him or her. Those have become big issues in these pronouns. So that actually one of the biggest enforcer of relationship, despite everything, even when in the heat of argument, if you can have 3 positive thoughts about the other, it begins to heal some of that. Stay playful. We're not good at that. What do I mean by stay playful? Let me give you an example. I bet none of you do it, but you did it as kids. Okay? If you don't do pillows, maybe that's for the children, but there's so many ways to be playful, to be funny, to be not take everything so seriously. I am guilty of that. I'm always rather serious than playful. So it's always something, I keep this visual in mind because I don't do what I preach here. I'm often serious. So if you can stay playful, life isn't so sticky and serious. And if you want to go beyond repair to the next level, I discussed this before. I will go over it quickly because we're running out of time, or we run out of time, but a lot of you are interested, so I'll keep it up. In a relationship, the first thing, suspend judgment. Any relationship, not talking about your spouse. This is one of the hardest things because the brain is designed to judge. I challenge you to go for 1 hour, not 1 day, 1 hour without judging something. Suspend judgment, and you will see a huge weight, loads come off your back. Okay? And when you stop judging, next thing happens. Don't advise. Unless somebody asks you, what do you think I should do? For goodness sake, don't keep saying, you know what? Do this, do that, fix this, fix that. If you haven't judged, you wouldn't be prompted. But even if you're not prompted and now you think you're the guru, stop it. People don't need your advice. They just want to share. They want to have a chat. Stop advising. And listen, and without preparing a response. Huge challenge. Often we're halfway listening and halfway preparing either a response with a story even more interesting than your story. We think it's, they call it a topper. Whatever you said, I'll top it with a story even more interesting. So we find ourselves having a chat, and before you said 2 words, I'm preparing a response. Can you listen with just listening? Actually, these 3 points, if you do follow them, they are the best way to develop friendship. Friends aren't looking for judges. They're not looking for advice, and they want a true listener. If you can do this, you will have meaningful relationship at home or outside. I think we've got enough here. I want to thank you all very much, and I hope some of it is useful for you. Please rate and send any comment that you have. Have a great day. Thank you.